Explore your higher consciousness with the Edge Media platform. We're a multimedia platform dedicated to connecting curious teachers and seekers in a safe, welcoming space. Dive into spiritual growth with our print magazine, digital content, podcasts, and in-person experiences. Whether you're seeking wisdom or sharing it, we're here to inspire and uplift your journey. Here, there, and everywhere. Connect with us today. Hello, beautiful ones. It's Kelly. I'm back. Welcome to the Being Curious Show. Today we have Peter Benson, and he makes angelic armor. And actually, you can see that. It's pretty amazing. He is a partner with The Edge, was our cover story in June, July 2024, and an all around fascinating individual doing amazing things and creating tools and armor for everyone to wear. He has 4 different lines of pennants, and then he also has some anklets, and it just his awakening story, what he's doing and how he's doing it is amazing. So, without further ado, welcome Peter to the show.
Thank you, Kelly, for having me. It's
Absolutely. And wow, did we have technical difficulties today? This was a fun one.
yeah, absolutely. We tend to have technical difficulties when we get going on the internet with me, both and myself and Vivian.
I believe it. Okay. Talk to us about you have these amazing. Oh, and I was gonna let you know I have the anklets on too, and it's actually when you're wearing them, it's like this trilogy feeling in your body where you have the anklets on, and then you have the pendant. Am I the only one that said that?
Nope.
Okay,
Have
you're like, nope.
you? So, question: have you set them up through your intentions?
I think so, but I might have. Do I have to do that on a regular basis, or is it just once?
No. If they're only yours and you're the only one wearing them, you can actually set them the way you need to. Um, but if you're wearing all three, it's synchronized, so you're telling all three to work together. And
Okay.
then you can tell if you need to reset any intentions, just reset for me, and then go to full power.
Oh, it's like they heard you. They're like, "Oh, hello." That's fantastic. Okay, we're at full power. I'm actually going to take one off now and show everybody. Okay, so let's talk about your products. Let's talk about what you do. There we go. We're going to do a little double, like ooh, 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 right?
Yeah.
And then the pendants. And so we're going to talk about that in a second. But let's, you know what I want to do? Tell us about yourself. Tell us why you're here, how you got here. I want to say what are you curious about, but I think you're curious about almost everything. And just go for it. Talk to us about you.
Um, well, for me, I started my journey as as a teenager that was very much causing trouble. That was just a normal teenager thing. Living in the woods out in the middle of Massachusetts. So when you're in the middle of the woods, you kind of find things to keep yourself entertained.
Yeah, I would
Um,
assume that.
Yep, it just is. I ended up going to school for being a mechanic, got certificates, got all that stuff, became an ASE master technician. And I was actually a mechanic for over 15 years. Went back to college, was working on a computer science degree, bachelor's. I got about halfway through that. And then my son came along and kind of interrupted all that. I had to go to work full time to cover all that fun stuff. Um, and then I ended up applying for and getting a job at a very large semiconductor company, which everybody on the planet understands and knows who they are. And I was there for probably about 20, 22 years, somewhere in that range. Um, and through all that, a lot of other things have happened in my life. I had a family reorganization near the end of my career at Intel. So all those things kind of brought a shift in who I was,
Mm.
uh, all around the same time. The career change, the family organizational change, and my awakening came up in all in that same time. It was about 5, 7, about 8 years ago now, actually, um, where I
Yeah,
started
tell me
reading.
how that unfolded.
I started reading books, Michael Weiss, no, Michael Newton, Brian Weiss, get those 2 guys
Okay.
mixed up.
Okay.
Um, and both of those are doctors who did a bunch of regressions, and they started documenting what was going on the other side and all those things that are coming through their patients, enabling, collaborating between different patients, so what they're seeing, what's going on, and all this other stuff, and I'm like, "Okay, this is a little different." I had no idea, and it's like, "Okay, if this is real, what else is real?"
Yep.
So I started understanding all that. Um, I read Dolores Cannon's books, all of them, and it's a lot of books, it's like 19 books.
Yep.
Um, so between all of that and understanding what the other side is, Dolores Cannon stuff on the journey of the souls, what you do, Nostradamus one was really, really interesting one with, Dolores Cannon. That was really kind of fun. Uh,
Tell
but
me what your takeaway with that one.
but the Nostradamus one?
Mhm.
Yeah, that was actually really cool. When she was regressing, this gentleman, and where she was regressing him, it's like, "Oh, I'm middle ages, you can see, walking through town, walking up this path, coming up to this house, walking into this room," and there's a lot more detail in her book, just I'm kinda slaughtering
Right,
her
right. No, 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 you're not. You're doing great.
um, he comes into this room, it looks like a classroom, and he's looking around, it's like, "Well, what do you see? What do you see?" And he was describing it to her, and the next thing happens is Nostradamus walks into the room, walks up to the student, and he walks, it's like, "I've been waiting for you." And it pretty much floored her because he was talking directly to her
Right.
through that soul. And I was just like, "Oh, that's cool. That's
Yep.
time travel at its finest right there." That
Right.
was way cool. That there was like, "Okay, that's a mind bender." And it just, like, really kind of opened my eyes. I'm like, "Okay, so what we see is not the reality of what is." We're barely seeing anything of what is reality, um, just from that understanding alone. So, for that, it's actually kinda really kinda woke me up. Um, and as I was going through that time, I was actually getting, I was starting to understand energy healing, so I started getting some, it was Reiki, but more than Reiki at that particular time.
Right.
And um, the woman I was actually seeing for the healing sessions, we had just completed a session, and she's like, "Metatron has a message for you." I'm like, "Who?" I'm like, "I didn't know him at the time."
Right.
Um, and basically, Metatron came in. It's like, you need to make some anklets out of tensor rings. You have to have these 5 crystals in it. It has to be copper to copper mesh. And then from there, it just kind of was like, okay, I just took some notes, and it took about a year and a half, approximately a year and a half, to actually kind of iron out the design to the point where people could actually use them and wear them. And um,
These are very intricate, by the way. I mean, like, you can see the craftsmanship and you can feel it, by the way.
yeah,
You're like,
it's
"I know that."
It's a lot of work to actually, for believe it or not, the tensor ring is the hardest part to actually keep stable, and we're working on that as well. We're working on changing the welding technique for those, um, and but the entire journey has been really curious. It's like I did the anklets, and like I said, this is all during that family reorganizational time, and changing of homes and all this. And I had given a pair of anklets to my accountant, believe it or not, and she was going through things, and it was actually tax time. So she put on the anklet. She goes, "They work amazing. I just can't keep them. My husband won't let me. It's too woo woo. It's one of those things: pickup trucks, football, beer. Hanging out on the weekends. She wouldn't allow her. He wouldn't let her wear them. So I'm like, okay, that's different. Um,
I'm
so I
just I'm just at the won't let her wear them. Like,
Yeah.
but we're not gonna worry about that.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I don't go into it. It's like that's their choice. That's her choice for not standing up for herself. I mean,
Mhm.
there's a lot of decisions that were made in that time frame that weren't mine,
Right.
and I'm just like observing. So at that point, I get them back, and I was like, okay, okay, Metatron, you gave me these anklets to give to people, and if they become too visually intrusive for some, how can we make this work? Um, and at the time, I was actually making I was making pendants, but they weren't the Metatron Michael, Shemuel, or Gabriel. They were um, they were using different crystals. I was doing turquoise and selenite, and actually, I was making those because it was a friend of mine he was working at a chiropractor and uh, physical therapy, and he was a physical therapist technician. So he was running around making sure all 10 people are doing their exercises and stuff like that. So he was kind of stressed. And I gave him one of the turquoise and selenite ones. And it was and he put that on. It's like, oh, dude, this is like a chill pill. And that name stuck. So that pendant was called the chill pill.
Sweet.
So ongoing from there, um, and it was the similar design, not the same design, but similar design. And Metatron goes in, it's like, just do it this way. And it's just a knowing. It's not a matter of he's giving me messages, audio, visual, or anything like that. It's just a knowing at that particular time.
So are you
So
in meditation during this? Are you just driving your car and had to pull over? Like how do you access the information with Metatron?
actually, with all of them, it's more of like the Gurdjieff type methodology. It's you get your mental mind out of the way.
Mhm.
So for me, it's when I'm actually in the shop just working. And the logical side is kind of no, yes, it's doing its own thing, and it's repetitive, doing this thing over and over. It's like if I'm
Mhm.
just cleaning the garage, I will get a message.
Mhm.
If I'm actually building pendants or anklets and I'm just doing something, like if I'm making 10 anklets and I'm just doing the same thing over and over again, I will get a message. It's getting the mental constructions out of the way so
Yeah,
that my
that's what you're showing me. It's like you have to get that monkey human brain over here doing this so this can come in
yeah,
clean and clear. So it's almost for you what I'm feeling is it's not that meditation of going, hmm, it's getting that over here and busy. You're showing me almost like a wheel that the like a hamster wheel. Like you get that just kind of going and
yeah,
channeling out, then the rest just comes in droop. They
yeah.
actually wait for you to get distracted so you can come in so they can come in.
Yeah, my logical side because of, when I was a mechanic, intuitively, I would get intuitions, and I was able to repair cars that were, like, really, really troublesome because of my intuition. So my intuition has always been there. Then when I got into doing the actual, engineering technician stuff, that's when I started getting a real logical mind, and I had to really put that mental construct in place just to do that job.
Did you ever
So
look at a car and just go, "What's wrong?" And then it would just start giving you the information?
no, I have to look at the cars. It's like I know what like when I was a when I was in that frame, I'd be like, oh, that's one of like that model and make, and I'm like, okay, so that has a list would come through my head of like those are the known issues that this car has, that kind of thing. And it's not necessarily this one has this problem, but I'd be like, oh, this is like a 4.3 Camaro or something like that, or a 4.3 Astrovan or something like that. Yep. Okay, so we have because it runs hot, we have EGR valve problems, we have the throttle body issues. It's like little things like that would just come through, and it's like I know exactly where to start without even looking at the car and knowing what the problem is yet, because it's like, okay, well, that's a high mileage, blah blah blah, blah, and I would just know. Um, and then actually, with once I got into doing this stuff, it was the engineering side of me was able to do all this precise calculations and the methodologies for creating and making, being able to actually make a production, being able to do multiple products at the same time and doing that kind of thing. And the mechanic in me was actually working with metals and welding, all of my past history has actually allowed me to create all this. So it was really interesting.
Tell me about what your workshop looks like.
My workshop now actually looks a lot nicer. It has multiple benches. It's actually it's not full benches yet. We'll get there eventually. But we're using steel shelves,
Mhm.
like the shelving units that'll come like half height, or you can extend them high. I have them workbenches. I have the shelves half high, and I throw 3/4 inch plywood on top to actually give them strength and rigidity. Um, and I have three wide on one side, which is where I do the cutting and all of the hammering and stuff like that with the copper. We have the polishing on one side. Then the other side of the bench has two full shelves, one bench, and one of those is a lapidary. So that's where we flatten the pendants out, make those clean. One of them is the newer stuff that we had talked about before coming on air, which is the electroplating, which is we're working on gold and silver plating.
Oh, we're
Uh,
gonna talk about that.
and then the middle section is where I have the drill press and the diamond cutting, the saw to cut stones up if I need to for creating special designs. And we have multiple 3D printers, one resin, two filament. We have infrared laser. We have a blue laser. We have vinyl cutting. We have all these different things out there. I'm still setting up the new shop because we just got the new house in June. So, and we've traveled for a month and a half out of that time. So I haven't had a lot of time to actually set it up on top of actually making product so that we can actually have people get the tools.
I almost see that you're gonna have a portal opened up in your shop.
Oh yeah. No,
Like
I
you're
got a
like,
vision.
okay. Yeah, I was like, I see the portal. I come from my dad was a manufacturer, and, we were a design shop for, a whole bunch of different hospital systems. So, I'm a daughter of my dad was happiest in his workshop. My dad was happy when he was creating. When
Yeah.
it's 2 o'clock in the morning and he was working on the lathe, he was totally just, like, dirty and greasy and totally, like, in his bliss. He actually used, on all of the metal that we used, and you have the 3/4 inch plywood. He actually found a place and bought slabs of granite because you can do so much with that. I don't know why I was called to tell you about my dad's slabs of granite. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've been looking for different solutions. Because of using heat, I don't want to use stone on certain parts. Yes, the plywood will burn, but I don't want to actually cause a heat fracture in the granite. It's a expensive replacement for that. Um, what I am looking at possibly getting one of those the stainless steel topped um, composite desktops that are
Mhm.
really strong. So I don't know. Well, I have to look at see what the core is for that.
I I don't know. I was just like, I wanna talk about your workshop because
Yep.
well, and then I want let to people know that everything is handmade,
Oh
everything
yeah.
is right? So it's that, it's quality, it's integrity, it's authenticity, and that's definitely something, and you're infusing that into every piece.
Yes, right now we're 100% handmade. Myself and my son helps do that. My daughter tends to, when we're putting the crystals in and glow powder, she'll do that and add the resin stuff like that. So we're, it's a family organization. It's family work. Eventually, I think I might try to get some automation in some of the copper cutting. But other than that, I don't know if we can actually do anything else because there's a lot of energy that's required to put into the tools as we create. Because when I'm doing the copper twist, when I'm twisting the copper wire, I utilize a drill. So I'm using somewhat mechanical there, but I'm holding space for the copper wire, and actually I'm saying ahem prama
Mm,
when I'm doing that. When that is, I am divine light.
yeah.
So I am divine light, and I'm putting that energy into the copper. So yes, it might be 20, 30 feet long, but it is iron divine light into the copper wire, and then I slice it to the specific links required for the different pendants and the different, well, the anklet or whatever it is.
That's beautiful.
So you
Let's
can't.
talk about your pendants because they are magical, and, there's 4 different kinds, and actually what's interesting is you and I chose the same one.
Yep, Michael. Oh, you froze.
of this amazing interview.
Yeah, we do. You just
Okay.
froze for a second there.
I know,
Okay.
we're back. Well, and what's interesting is I've closed, like, everything down to try to do it, so, it's interesting when I interview certain people, these kind of things happen, and I wasn't shocked that this is happening with you and the energy going on. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the penance because I absolutely, um I'm just I will actually even if I'm walking around, I will have people just staring, and then I've had people just, like, wanting to reach out and touch it. I'm like, I should just kinda, like, hand them your card. I'll just be like, "Hmm, hmm, hmm, hmm." So talk about the pendants and then the 4 different kinds and what's the difference between each pendant,
Okay. Well, I'm going to go back a little bit.
please.
We'll go back at the anklets.
Oh,
So when we're talking about it, the Metatron pendant came in first as the anklet is the first thing that came in, and the pendant came in next as a solution to, what do you want to call it? The 3D judgmental head, mind space. Of the husband actually not allowing the wife that's actually under his thumb kind of thing to allow to wear anklets because it's too much in your face.
right.
But if she were to wear a necklace, it comes almost completely. It's like you just put it on, it doesn't matter anymore. Um, so yes, they're decent size. They're about what 40, 50 millimeters wide. Um, so they're not too big. Um, and they are created with the tensor technology. All of them are. So the Metatron pendant came in first, and that one is as like the anklets, it is energy armor, and that's what Metatron called it. And it's like to keep your energy yours as we go through this time, and that's exactly that's what the quote was when he came in and gave me that message. So the pendant does the same thing, but in a different way. So the anklets, if you visualize your torus energy field, so the energy field goes up and over, it's a bidirectional torus energy field going this way and it goes this way. So energetically, you feel your environment from your crown chakra and your root chakra. So energy comes in and hits your barrier like Earth, right? That's why we get aurora because energy comes in from the sun, hits the barrier, and then rolls over that field and hits the crown or the North Pole and South Pole. So that's how we feel our energy in the environment. So the anklets literally cap the top and bottom of your field. It restricts the top and bottom of your field so much that you're not able to feel the environment around you. It blocks everybody's energy. So if you're in an environment where you're emotionally challenged or you go to let's say Costco or a big box store or just going out Christmas shopping and you don't want to feel everybody's problems because everybody's stressed out and you have to do this and that. If you don't want to feel their energy, that's what you put these on for. It blocks it out so you don't feel it. So
Ooh,
now
airports. These would be great in airports.
it is the problem, and there is a problem when you go through airports, especially security.
I was about to
With
say TSA might think a little crazy.
well, it's not the crazy part. It's because you take your power back, you're challenging their authority.
Oh.
So when you go through security, you take the tools off, put them in the backpack or your purse or whatever it is. You get through security, not challenging, and as soon as you get out of there, you put it back on. You're fine.
Okay.
You just have to deal with their, you have to respect the authority, kind of the Cartman thing from
Oh
South
my
Park.
gosh, I just was like, you just quoted Cartman. That's awesome.
Yeah, just respect my authority. So you gotta do it. You gotta do it because otherwise, when you're out there, if you're wearing these tools and you're out in the public space, as you said before, it's like if you have anybody that's enlightened or at least waking up or fully awake, they will look at the pendant and they will stare at it and they're looking at it's like it means something, but I don't know yet.
Yep.
The more awake they are, the more they want to touch it.
Yep.
The more darker they are, the more 3D bling bling, they'll look at it and look the other way. They don't care.
Yep.
And it's kind of interesting. You can tell where people are by just the way they look at the tool because it radiates energy.
Oh
So,
yeah. That's
um,
fantastic.
so going back to the tools, Metatron was the first with the anklets and then the pendant. As I was making those, Michael came in and it's like, I want you to merge the chill pill, the emotional healing, and Metatron and make one for me. And that's where the Michael pendant came from. Merging of everything. after that, it was just like, oh, okay. Because it comes in just as a knowing as I'm building. It's like, I don't know.
So how
Um,
did you know the messaging from Metatron from Michael? I'm assuming that it felt different, it has a different knowing, or did it just show up as like, "Here we go." I'm
um,
fascinated because I also but everyone sees things or feels or knows things differently.
it's just a knowing. The
Okay,
energy is a little different. So the
okay.
energies are a slight bit different, and I'm not super, super sensitive, but I can tell it was something different.
Metatron to
Um,
me feels very, very tall. It feels I'm a knower as well, and by the way, like, that's when he comes in, it's just this very tall energy. When Michael shows up for me, I just get the wings. So
yeah,
that's where my little head's at, where I'm like, "Okay, who are you?" And then I get that, and I was like, "Oh, okay, hi." But you
yeah,
just have a knowing.
yeah. For
Okay.
Metatron, it's more like the more I actually look at sacred geometry, the minute I see or feel Metatron, it's more like I kind of visualize geometries.
Oh, okay, got
Um,
perfect.
and Michael comes in, I just if he comes in and he starts talking, yeah, because he'll talk through me. All of a sudden, I'll just turn into this ball of emotional goo, and I'll just start crying.
Okay.
But if I'm out in the shop and he comes in, I just feel empowered. I feel like you're saying the wings kind of energy feeling. I'll feel like something coming out of my back or something, like the wings thing. Um, and then the other two are just different with the Shamuel and Gabriel. They came in differently
How did they
and they
come
felt
in?
different. Well, when I was making the Michaels, Gabriel came in and told me to make this pendant. He didn't tell me, or she didn't tell me it was them until like 2 months ago. So, it was a multidimensional for about 2 years, just because of the energies of the pendant. The Archangel did not wanna be named until later, and I don't know why.
Okay.
But yeah, we had a lady in Florida, actually take just actually gave her sent her a picture of the pendant, and she actually sat with it because you can actually visualize with the tools. And she sat with it and she gave me a list of like 30 different things that this pendant is capable of doing, from Akashic record reading to time jumping to multidimensional viewing to seeing different outcomes. It's like being able to see timelines and stuff like that, depending on where you are spiritually. It'll allow you to do more than where you are right now. But it's not going to, it's like if you're not ready for it, it's not going to pop you out of your body and go to your Akashic records and start, browsing the library. It's not going to do that.
It meets you where you're at.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit of an edge for where you are. So I mean, we've had some. It's the three anecdotal ones is actually really cool. Um, oh, Danny and Brinkley, you know him. He's been
I've heard
struck.
the name.
He's been struck by lightning like 5 or 6 times or something like that and survived.
Good for him.
But he's been on the other side that many times.
Okay.
So he puts on the pendant, and the first time he did, he looked down and he goes, "I can see the dimensional barriers." He's just like, "That's cool." And he goes, last time he tried it was just a couple months ago. I think it was like 8 months ago. He tried it again. It's like, "Oh yeah, I can see a lot more with that now." He's like full multi-dimensional. He can actually start seeing different things. He didn't explain, he didn't expound on it. He goes, "You got this right." Um, we had we were at Conscious Life Expo in LA. This older woman who was actually in one of those little carts, drive around
Mhm.
carts. She had a multi-dimensional or Gabriel, one on the front, one on the back. So you put one, just wear one on the forward and just put one on backwards. So it's on your front and back of your heart chakra. And she was just sitting there and she goes, "Okay, this is cool. I see planets." She was literally viewing planets. And she was like flying through and seeing different planets and stuff like that, which is really interesting. I'm like, okay, that's
Well, and at the Conscious Life Expo, I was there
yeah,
this year.
yeah,
The minute you walked into that hotel, it
yeah,
was on, right?
yeah, yeah.
It was
It's fun.
it's hard to describe to people that weren't there. I actually had a little compassion and I went to the front desk and I was like, Since this comes back every year, you guys should really let the other people know that are booking that aren't a part of this conference what's going on because they were all walking around just like they didn't know what to do with the energy. Like,
Yeah.
right? There you could tell there was a lot of flight attendants because it's at the Hilton in LA.
Right.
Like it's like you can see the runway right from right.
From the
And
room, yeah.
you could just tell there was a lot of people that were like, "I don't know what's going on with this hotel. It's gonna start levitating." And we're like, "Mhm, it is."
That's my favorite part of the tools. That's my favorite part of doing the energy work that Viv and I do and the energy tools is watching people get completely kind of lost in the energy that we bring with us, and they're like, "What?" And it's just like it's literally kind of confusing. It's like they just smoked a big fat joint or something like that, and they're like, "Whoa!" It's just it's kind of like an energy field where they get lost in it.
Right.
Um,
And it's that proper integration, so I'm like,
yeah,
"Hello," and,
yeah, integrating
"Ooh."
what's going on. So, and the third one was we were actually in Mount Shasta at the headwaters. We were at one of the conferences there, and we had this young lady. Her and her boyfriend were both fasting and only on juice and all this other thing. So they were energetically totally clean and pure.
Yeah.
She put one on front and back, and she immediately went to I think it was a parallel life. It doesn't feel like it was a past life or anything. It was a parallel life where she was on another planet
Hmm.
and she was an amphibian. She goes like
Oh,
she looked at it. She was just looking around, looking at herself because she wasn't seeing her physical body here. It was her physical
right.
body. And she was looking down. It's like, oh, I got fur. It's brown fur, waterproof. Okay. And she's looking around. She's like, I'm on a beach. And she's like, I see, sees the water, see the beach, the sand. She goes, she's looking all the way. It's like, oh, that's the cliff. It's like a cliff face. So it's kind of in an angle. She goes, well, that's our village right there. And she was describing it and all that other stuff. And I'm like, whoa. And she was having a lot of fun with it. And she was doing that for 10, 15 minutes, describing everything about it. And it was like very cool. So that's the Gabriel or multidimensional pendant was it had so we've had some amazing experiences with folks with it, and where they go and what they can do.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And Peter, you travel all over the world. I know that like this interview took a while because you are a traveling man on the earth plane. Well, here, there, and everywhere.
Yes. Um, but Viv and I, we travel all over the world for speaking engagements. We've been, what was it, 22? We did South Africa, and 23 we did UK, Costa Rica. We were, of course, in Mount Shasta twice, and then we did Egypt and Greece. Yeah, and UK. Yeah, so we did all that, and just that was last year. And then this year we've done we did Australia for quite a bit, and Viv did a week, almost a week in Azores. So we've been traveling quite a bit, and it's not just international, but we've done a lot inside the country as well. California,
Tell,
quite a few times.
tell me about Mount Shasta and the because I'm putting together an experience there, and I have a feeling these guys have fun playing in Mount Shasta.
They do. They do. They have a lot of fun playing in Mount Shasta. You have to watch out right now because of the dualistic nature of our environment.
Okay,
When you
tell
have a
me more
high
about that.
when you have a high positive light, you have a negative dark light as well in the
Hmm.
environment. It's just natural the way that works. You have that in Sedona, Mount Shasta, you have that pretty much everywhere. It's the yin and the yang. Until we
Hmm.
actually vibrate to a higher frequency, we're going to have that split, the dualistic system. So we're vibrating higher and higher every day. So you'll end up having more and more of a positive energy field until we hit the fifth dimensional, where we don't have we don't have that dualistic system anymore.
So, what do you recommend, or what are you receiving from your guides, the archangels, on because my what I've been studying is like we're in the birth canal right now, is
Yeah.
just energetically right doing that. Um, what are you feeling about that? What are you dialing in with that energy? Because I mean, the way you said that was beautiful, and it's almost like this, and then it just kind of falls off. But we do need balance.
Yes. Right now, we need to make sure we can maintain ourselves and maintain balance. Um, and it is correct. It's like you're saying, it's like we are in that birthing time where the frequencies are going up and back down again. There is a reckoning, kind of the darker side of things are going to come to light as we go through this time. And this is not political. It's just
Nope.
over everywhere. It's all over the entire planet. It's not just here in the US. I mean, all you got to do is look at the protests everywhere else on the planet. It's coming out where our leaders are being ejected because of their policies, and people are just, I've had enough of this. And it's a bunch of different things. It's all these different topics. So it's
Mhm.
not just one.
Nope.
So the issue is where the people are, you have to actually kind of look at COVID as a wake up call,
Mm.
and people started going inside more and more and more and more as we were blocked from going out. So it was more of a kind of acceleration of the awakening coming through. And now we're actually starting to look at things differently because of that. So now we're looking at things, it's like, okay, why is this way? I know I've lived my entire life like this, but why is this way? Why is it that people are starting to ask questions why, which is basically awakening everybody. So as we awaken, we start questioning, we start getting our own power back because we're asking questions instead of just going along. So as we take our power back, our frequency rises. At that point, we start, the other side loses power. The darker light loses power over us. So the more power we gain, the less power they have. So right now, we have to, if you look at the way things are going right now, the darker light is having a hard time maintaining its power structure all across the planet.
I feel like there's surges. They're like
Yes.
they do like little surges or bursts, and then right? That's just what
Yeah.
I'm picking up on.
Well, if you look at the past, it kind of references what we're dealing with now. Um, 9/11 was a dark environment where people gave up their power because of fear.
Mhm.
And then you had the shootings and bombings in England on this July 7th, I think it was, where people started giving up more power. And it was the fear. They have to push a narrative of fear to keep their narrative going and their power. Right now, people are not like I said, after you get through the pandemic, people are not believing what they're saying anymore because they lied so much.
Right.
So now people are going, no, I don't believe you. And now when they come up with something fearful, it's like, okay, is that true or is that fake? Is that false news or is that fake news or whatever it is you want to, whatever kind of narrative you want to call it. And it becomes more of a knowing where it's like, no, I don't believe what you're saying. It's like you may have a tidbit of truth in that just to try to
Mhm.
get me, but I don't believe you. Um, so this is where we're coming through, and the energy of it is actually becoming more and more positive, more and more of the light, and people are getting their power back.
Right.
So what now, if you look at it, it's like we're gonna have a few months of this um, up and down, and I feel like we're coming through this birth canal. I think over the new year. After that, I think we're gonna start seeing more and more light. So more and more truth coming out, which is going to completely disarm and dismantle aspects of that control and negative energy or negative light. And I think we're going to start growing in a positive frame after this, after the new year. We're seeing it now,
Mhm.
but you can see this. It's getting cyclical right now. It goes up real positive, then it crashes real low, and they're trying to create a fear narrative, but they can't do it anymore. They can't do it the way they used to.
No. And people are being curious, and I'm not just saying that. That's why
No,
the
great.
show is called The Being Curious Show. You can do so much in life, navigate so much in life through curiosity that
Yep.
you can't through other lenses. I mean,
Yes.
I can talk with anybody on any topic, whether it's a hot one, whether it's a taboo one. If you do it through curiosity and you actually lean in and listen,
Yeah.
it's fascinating how people will actually really start to just share.
Oh yeah.
And this is it's interesting. I was talking to someone the other day, and I'm not going political, but I'm just like saying it like what I was doing in navigating the waters. And a dear friend of mine who is extremely dialed in, who's extremely intuitive, um, was not terribly happy with the outcome of the US election, and I was holding space.
Yeah.
And what I shared was, and this is how I got through the election, right? Is I believe that universe has our back, and I
Yep.
believe in optimal outcomes. So it's really hard to tell people in the awakened community, in the higher consciousness community, that the universe has your back, and trust and trust and trust, and then an outcome like that happens and then go, "Nope, I'm not gonna listen to this," right?
Yeah.
So I tried to take it from that 10,000 foot and go, "Okay, there's a reason this is happening, and I'm gonna be curious about it, and I'm going to be engaged, and I'm gonna be supportive." And um we have a new leader who used to be a leader, and I'm hopeful it's a new day. And we all want the pilot of the plane that we're on to be healthy, happy, and doing a great job,
Yes.
rather than wanting to be like, ah. So I'm like, okay, here's what we're doing, and optimal outcomes. And that's really, and this person, when I started to say it that way, was like, huh, okay. It was so interesting watching it just kinda the fear and the anger and just kinda like, "Oh, yeah. Okay."
Yeah. And their biggest weapon has been the media, the darker side, the control structure. It's like, and Vivian had a talk with a lady the other day, had the same kind of outcome, and it's just like trying to diffuse the energy because it was so high on the negative. It's
Yeah.
like, oh my God, we're all gonna die. Kind of, it's like no, and you just look at the situation, remove
Mhm.
remove red, red and blue, remove that, remove names, remove everything out of it. And it's just like, okay, if you have if you have someone or a group that's actually utilizing the media in one frame only and repeating the exact same thing over and over and over again, should you stop and look for something that's saying something else? If you have somebody that's doing something and has to pay people to come up on stage and talk or promote them, where you other one is just actually having just rallies, bringing people out, and they're just speaking from their heart, and they're just there, not paid, and they're actually, and it's like, okay, and if you're looking at it, it's like, if you have this person or this other group that's been in power and has allowed these things to happen and says, well, as soon as I get back in power, I'm going to do the right thing. Okay, why haven't you done this? And it's like, and I know this is right now, it's the red and blue. And it's like, if people on the negative were saying, it's like, well, he's going to come in and be a dictator. It's like, he wasn't the first 4 years. Why would he be now? And the interesting part is, it's like, if you look at the narrative that they're trying to say, is what they've been doing over the last 4 years, including the virus, is they're portraying somebody else for what they are doing in real life at the moment. Oh, they're going to have political persecutions. It's like, you mean like the last 10 years? They're going to take away free speech. You mean like you're doing right now?
Mm.
Well, this is the way that, I mean, you have to look at it and understand. It's like, I'm not trying to take the right or wrong. I just have to look at the narrative of it. It's like when we were going through the virus. I mean, I was looking at it like what they were saying on TV. It's like the virus is killing millions and millions. It's like, and they're just putting this number on the screen. I'm like, okay, if I see 15 million people dying, I should see people falling dead on the street. I
Yeah.
don't see any of that. And then you go to the CDC's one website and you look at the virus, it's like influenza numbers are gone to zero and now it's all COVID. Okay, what's going on? You have to discern really what is going on because you cannot believe the words of what the narrative of the mainstream media is. And a lot of these people that are on the left or whatever it is, even on the right, you
Right.
can't, you cannot listen to them. It's just like the left is saying one thing, the right is saying another. And my favorite thing is, I know this one's going to be a little bit political, but Matt Gaetz, who's actually been hit go for the attorney general for under Trump, he was actually going through the Senate building and going, and he was on one of the Democrats' hot button systems, like, oh my God, you're violating the stock participation or whatever it is, investments thing. And he's walking by. It's like, this guy invested in, well, Raytheon the day before we went into Ukraine, and he made millions. This guy was doing it. It's like he went door to door to door to door and actually calling out all these politicians. And you know what? They're all Republican. So it's like right and wrong is not red and blue.
Right. Well, and I wanna let our listeners and our viewers of this know that this is not a political
No,
conversation.
no,
We are
no.
really just sharing,
This is
um,
standing.
it's discussions that actually I'm assuming more people should be having, and it's not a red or blue or purple or green or right or wrong, but it's like, just be curious. And if
Yeah,
something kind of feels like, um, the one thing that I saw the other day about mass deportation, they were just mass I mean, it was just they were using the same word over and over and over. And then I was having dinner with my brother and sister-in-law, and she used the word mass deportation, and I went, "Okay." And that what I would just ask people when they hear it over and over and over, "Okay, what is that? Let's be curious about it. Let's look at it. What are we talking about? Is this just a source going out and saying all these different like the same thing over and over and over? Is this something we need to be looking into? It's just it's be curious. And I think the virus and COVID um had an outcome where people came out and some people are still wearing masks every single time they leave the house, and then other people are not. And I think it was a time for people to go in, like you said before, in reflection, and then come out. This is what I see. I encourage people to do this. Just be like, hmm, huh, just be curious about it, right?
yeah.
And
Oh, absolutely.
what works for you, if it still works for you, awesome. Fantastic. But if you're kinda, like, scratching something, you're like, "Oh, there's something that's kinda missing," or there's a missing link or something, be curious, check it out.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
also with
absolutely.
media sources, I through this election, I was watching the BBC. I was dialing in with a broadcaster from New Zealand and Australia, and so I was trying to look at things, outside of just our little bubble in the US, and I think that gave me some more information. I don't know. That was the approach I took.
Yeah. I did too. That's I was actually watching Sky News out of Australia, and their critique of our election was so humorous. It wasn't. It was actually entertaining. And you're right. This is not a political.
Mm-mm.
What I was trying to, well, we'll come back around to is
Yeah.
that the tools, when you're blocking other people's energy, this also blocks the energy that they're projecting through.
Mm,
So you'll start seeing through what they're saying, but you have to be ready for it. And you have to allow. You have to
right.
understand that you're going. Yet you have to understand that we are living through a time where your discernment is everything.
It means a lot too. Everyone's
It,
voice matters.
yes, and this is where it's like I want everybody to be able to communicate. We've actually gotten to the point now where we can't even talk.
I know.
Uh, it's just it's like if you bring up one topic, I mean, it's breaking families. It's we're having other problems, and it really got highlighted because of the virus time frame.
Yeah.
And it broke families because of, "Oh, did you get your shot or not? Are you on your 15th shot or did you not do it?" It's like and that's it's like it creates fear, and that's what they did, and that was what projecting. What you wanna do is actually become very discerning and actually become, bring your own power in.
Yeah.
And the tools actually allow you to actually hold your own frequency. This is what Metatron was talking about. Maintain your frequency without being interrupted by anybody else's or any agendas. So this allows you to do that. And you, like I said, you have to be very ready for it. And you program the tool. Allow me to be more discerning. Allow me to see through lies. And the one pendant we haven't talked about yet was Shamuel.
Let's talk about it.
And it's actually it comes in right on cue because of what we're talking about. Now, with everybody going through, the virus and the politics and all this other stuff, Shamuel is perfect for this. Shamuel is stress and trauma,
Mm,
PTSD, keeping your energy stable while you're getting triggered. It
yeah.
really, it really does work really, really well. Um, and it's just one of those things. It's when you put it on, it's just like very, very calming. There's 18 crystals on it specifically designed to release and let go, even for dream state and night terrors and all those things. And a lot of folks have had this problem with, the whole planet has been traumatized from COVID. It just has.
Hmm.
And then we've been traumatized with the outcomes of other things as well that came along with that. Whether it's a mask or a shot or isolation or, all these different things. And then of course now you have politics that are actually getting involved, and it's divisive the way that they're communicating, which is exactly what they want and which is not what we need. We need to communicate and work together.
Yeah.
So, being able to see through their narratives and break the cycle of divisiveness is what we really, really need. So, Shamuel will allow, if anybody's having problems and stressful things, it's really designed for first responders, military, ex-military, all that kind of stuff, even hospital. But it'll allow anybody to keep their energy stable while you're trying to deal with all of these things, especially if you've been triggered by, the election, or triggered by, in other countries by, the prime minister doing certain things that are completely violating your trust of the government. Oh, and it's not just one country. There's multiple countries with that prime minister doing things north of us, over east of us, and a bunch of
There's
other
a lot
places.
going on. There's
There's a
there's a
lot.
there's a lot going on.
A lot going on globally. So the tools are here for you, the people. And it's been, this is why the archangels came through me to get this out there. It's because I have the skill set to make them. And from what Vivian explained to me is, I have angelic source, which is interesting as well.
So
So
here's my question. I don't know, this just came in, but I have this feeling that all of the pendants are connected.
they are.
Even though, like, they go to different but I you just what you just showed me is that you just showed me the planet the planet, and then little stars of all the different pendants that are out there
Yeah.
that are connected.
Yeah, it's to protect you. It's actually to help unify humanity.
Yeah.
And tool that let's just say the tools are designed to bring you to a higher frequency where everybody will benefit. So whichever tool is calling you is the tool that will help you get to where you need to be. And by doing that, you're gonna help everybody else around you raise their vibration and do what they need to do. So these tools are here to actually help raise the vibration of everybody.
It just
So
showed
yeah,
me, like, their own little personal Wi-Fi spots where, like, their own little personal hotspots of goodness.
yes, hotspots of the angelic etheric plane.
I love it. Okay, so you have some new products coming out that you're wearing right now. Tell us more about the gold.
So we're going to be doing all the pendants in gold, and after we get the gold done, we're going to be doing silver. We're doing gold plating, just because of the sheer cost of it. One pendant would be somewhere around $20,000 if I did solid gold. So we're not going to do
Right,
that.
right.
Um, but we're doing plating so that we can actually keep the price reasonable for everybody. And the energy of them is about 10 times stronger, and the gold is also softer, which is kind of an oxymoron. It's more powerful, but yet softer at the same time. When you put it on, it's just like, oh, awesome. So we are coming out with the gold, and we're also coming out with the silver after that. Right now, we're just working out the details on how to get the plating look the best, so
Right.
that it's shiny and sparkly and all that. Because when you're plating, any defect is actually shown through. The plating just highlights that defect.
Yep.
So now, these are handmade, so there are defects in every single pendant. So nobody get the misconstruing thing that these are coming off an assembly line where 100% perfection is going to happen. Not happening. Not happening. These are handmade. So there's always a defect in every single one, but each one is completely 100% unique. So there might be a scratch here or a scratch there.
I wouldn't
It's
call
just
them a defect. I would just call them it's a little character.
yes. No, it's not. Yeah, I know I'm using it's kind of a harsh word, defect. They're actually just, it's character per unit. So
Perfect.
each one will have, there'll be different scratches in different spots just because of the way we have to use diamond plates to sand them down because we're doing, I've heard the Mohs scale, hardness of stones. We're using some stones that are pretty hard.
Yeah.
So we have to use diamond to actually cut them down. And when we're cutting the stones down, the little pieces of stone roll away on the lapidary, and they will cut a little groove in the resin, and there's nothing we can do about that.
Right.
It's just part of the way that works. It's just part of the process. So, not necessarily defect, more of like a characterization of each one.
Mm.
And each one has a different level of crystals in it, whether because they're all hand placed and they all glow too. You've seen that one, right?
Yes, it was really funny. I had a client that was up in the Boundary Waters, northern Minnesota, and, when he got Wi-Fi, he was, "Did you know they glowed?" "Yes, I know they glowed." "Oh my god, it was amazing. I was out in this and this and this and this," and I'm like, "Yep."
Yeah. Um, yeah, so we add glow powder to it, so it's no mystical thing. Um, the interesting piece on that glow is the one part that we found out just over like a couple of years ago is it will glow with the sun. Okay, so when you charge it with the sunlight or ultraviolet light, it will glow and it will be very vibrant. You wear it to bed and it will glow. It glows all the time. The tensor rings create an energy field which charge the glow powder in it. The real curious piece is the more you're in your heart center, if you're wearing it over your heart, and the more you're in your heart center, the brighter it will get. So if you do like a heart meditation and you're wearing it, by the time you're done, if you notice before and after, you will notice it glows a lot brighter. It's the
Oh,
amount of energy you're projecting through the tool.
oh, that's fantastic, Peter.
Yes, that
How
was
do
actually
people do so tell me about, just because I know we're gonna be creating a lot of curiosity about this, how do people maintain them? Do they need to go out in the moonlight? Do they need to how do they wash? Like, are they just do you just put them on and just keep wearing them?
you can just wear them. The tensor technology, if you have like a tensor ring itself, it is self-cleansing. It does, it's just a tensor ring and it self-cleanses anything that's inside the actual field.
Okay.
So the pendant doesn't need any particular cleansing. Now, if you want to do ritual stuff, put it out in the moonlight and stuff like that. I wouldn't put it in the sunlight because resins and stuff like that will degrade under sun.
Okay.
But moonlight is a lot more gentle. Plus, crystals don't always like sunlight because they can be degraded. They will charge, yes. So depending on ones, like if you did like amethyst in sunlight, you bleach out the purple. It goes away, turns into discords. Um, and you can use them in water, but you have to be careful because there is selenite in there, and selenite is a salt, and it will dissolve. Um, so there's not really anything you need to do to keep the pendant clean, other than telling it to reset, clear any and all intentions or all energies off this pendant. Done. It's done. Then the fun part is on these tools is if you're wearing one, you don't have to synchronize. But if you're wearing one and you're wearing jewelry, let's say like bracelets right here. These are actually a Michael and Metatron bracelets.
Oh, they're very heavy.
Um, yeah, those are actually strong too. Those are coming, just so you know. Um,
You heard it here.
yep, those brand new actually. Um, if you're wearing more than one crystal, or you're wearing crystals on top of the pendant, you tell it to synchronize. So now you're going to start controlling the crystals you're wearing or carrying. We don't normally do that. We just put the crystals in our pocket, or put on a bracelet or a ring. We don't talk to it. Don't tell it what to do. Crystals are sentient beings too, so they will work with you. They're going to do their normal generic thing regardless if you're wearing them and telling what to do. So that's where you get the generic usage. But if you tell them to synchronize, then tell them to reset any intentions that you've placed on them because not consciously put them on there, and then tell them to go to full power.
Oh my god, I just did that. That's fantastic.
Now, if
Wow.
it's too strong, if it's too powerful, just tell it to go to my comfort level and it will follow you all day long at your
Yep.
comfort level.
It went whoop. Well, have you played with Andera crystals yet?
Oh, yes, we have a
Oh,
bunch of Andara crystals.
I so this is the one that wanted to play today, along with some citrine and shungite and selenite, and then I just went I went, "Everybody sync up," and they did, and they were like, "Ooh." And then I brought it down to the comfort level, and they're like, "Okay." The other day, I had a crystal necklace that I put on that with this, and they were fighting for about a good 5 minutes, and I was like I actually took the other one off because I didn't know, what you just shared, which thank you very much. And now
Yes.
I'm like, "Ooh, I could put that because it looked everything looked nice together, right?"
Yep.
I was like, "Ooh, oh my gosh, you guys." So they really are tools. They're wearable tools. I mean,
Yes.
that's really what they are.
Well, the way I kind of tell people that these are tools for your benefit,
Mhm.
and it's like if you think of like a circular saw or your car. Do you use those without telling them what to go do?
No, you don't just turn it on.
You
Well,
don't
some
just get
people
in your
do.
car. I mean,
Right.
you have to get in your car, you have to tell it what to do. You have to start it, then put it in drive, and then you have to drive, you have to steer it. You have to control that tool. It's a tool. Same thing with a circular saw. It's same with a pencil. If you're not doing anything with it, it's not gonna do anything.
Right.
The difference is with the crystals, you're gonna have a radiant energy that they're gonna have naturally. So you put it on without telling it what to do, you're gonna have the effect. When you start controlling it, that's when you really start seeing effects of, like, greater magnitude.
I wish I'm not a big, like, unboxing girl, like, I think I'm too old for it, but whatever. But I wanted to let you know, as a girl that worked for a custom manufacturer, AKA my father, who we did classes on how to pick the box, how to tape boxes, how to do all of that. Your all of your products, how they come, are so packaged with love and so high quality. It's like an experience once you get the
Yes.
box. And you open it up, and then you get in this, and then you have this. They're just it's gorgeous. It's and then you get and then that box too. I have that dug show it. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's presented and it's like, "Hello." And it's
Yep.
all about the hello friend. Oh, I this is amazing.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That's Shamuel.
It was like, "Hello.
Hi. Yes.
Hi, I'm here." Okay. We've gone an hour. So this has been such a great interview, even with all of our crazy technical difficulties. Let's talk about how do people find you? I've been flashing your website down below, and it's also going to be in the show notes. Where can people find you over the next couple months? What shows are you going to be at? Because I know you travel all over the world. I'm assuming you're going to be at Conscious Life Expo again in February.
Yeah, we're gonna be at Conscious Life. We're gonna be at the New Living Expo, I believe, in Northern California.
Yep.
We're gonna be doing a cruise here in December, a Galactic Origins cruise.
Okay, so
Uh,
you did one before. How did that go? Tell us about that because I could just oh my gosh, you on a boat and get some UFOs and woo.
yeah, we did the, what is it? Contact at Sea, which was
Okay.
a Alaska cruise we just got back from in, early September. And that was really, really nice. It was amazing trip. Um, and we're doing the different cruises and stuff like that. The only downfall to cruises is they're not advertised on the boat because it's actually a smaller venue. So it's a smaller conference room that you're using, and you're only allowed so many people in the room. So they don't
Yeah.
advertise it to the 4,000, 5,000 people on the boat. If you're doing conferences like Conscious Living, the entire hotel, if they're curious, can walk up and see and walk around and view. So it's more of a captive audience on a boat. So I'm like, as much as I like doing the cruises, I think we're going to move away from those because of just the way that it's the format
I
of the environment.
I so we're doing a and I if it wasn't kind of a pop-up, I would have invited you because you would do amazing. We're not this weekend, but next weekend we're going to be doing a pop-up event at a mall.
Yeah,
And it is Black Friday weekend. So I thought, what a great time to be at a mall is Black Friday weekend when our mall is going to be the busiest. Then,
yep,
so we're having
yeah,
30 vendors and we're popping it up. Where I'm going with this is the mall will only let us have 2 signs within the mall to promote the event. And I was just shocked because I'm
yeah.
like, there's a captive audience. Like, but it was the signage is very limited, and I've been just kind of scratching my head going, "Okay, how is this a win-win if we're only able to
Yeah.
have limited signage?" So when you said that about the cruise, I was like, "I totally get it. I totally
Yeah.
get it."
I want it's not that I don't like doing the cruises, and
Mm,
I like that it's actually a smaller community when you're in there, and
right.
you get more time to talk one-on-one with a lot of folks. I
Absolutely.
mean, there's so that's the upside of it. The downside is you can't talk with more people.
Right.
So and actually get people exposed to, the stuff that I create or Vivian's, healing stuff that she does. So it's like right now, it's like we wanna be able to get our message out to more people. So we need to
Right.
actually do bigger venues with more exposure. And it's just because it's like when we're at a conference, it's like at the New Living Expo, there'll be thousands of people walking through. And
Right.
if they're interested, they stop and I talk to them. And if somebody else stops, I'll say the same thing over and over and over and over and over again over 4 days
Right.
because people come by and it's all new for them. And it's perfect. This is what I like doing. I love talking to people and love meeting people because everybody has their own story, and I get all those stories. It's
Oh, I
fun.
bet.
And trying to help them resolve a issue or help them with progressing more than where they are is basically what I try to do.
No, that's amazing. So, cruise, Conscious Life Expo, anything else teed up for the next couple months?
We have a few things I think starting next year, but I don't know the calendar off the top of my head.
That's
I know we
totally
have
okay.
those 2 in California. I know we're doing one, I believe we're doing another one in San Diego. Viv has a calendar on her website, Infinite Healing from the Stars.
There we go.
Uh, so the calendar is up there. I don't have the calendar on my page yet. I should probably get that over there too. Um, yeah, and we're doing a nice little small retreat in Sedona this weekend, which is gonna be beautiful. Um Yeah, and then we're doing the cruise, and then we're taking it quiet for the holidays, and then we start the new year.
No, it's beautiful. Okay, you guys, this is Kelly from the Being Curious show. So, the if you are curious, the June July 2024 issue, Peter was the oh, there we go, doing things backwards, kind of fun. The
Yeah.
cover story. He's also in the brand new December January edition of the Edge magazine, and there's a special 10% offer in his coupon. So definitely check that out. There'll be more information to come, and then we're gonna get this going. How do you wanna leave people?
Let's do a quick little thing here. I'm gonna
I
pull
would
this.
love to do a quick little thing with you.
Okay, so we're gonna do this. I'm gonna put this up to the camera.
The gold is so amazing.
Let me
Okay.
get this thing if I can
Yeah, get
focus
it
it right.
clear. Get it focused.
Oh, wrong way.
It's
There we
okay.
go.
There we go.
Yeah, autofocus wasn't working, so I tried
I
to turn it
know.
on. Okay, so visualize that as you're wearing it. So just acknowledge that you're wearing it. If you have to put your hand on your heart where you put it there, just visualize that is on your chest, right above your heart. Connect to it. Visualize that gold pendant just sitting there, connecting to your energy field. Now you want to tell it to synchronize with you. Tell it to reset for me, which is you. To reset for me, and then tell it to go to full power.
I've done drugs that haven't been that good.
So the gold one is a little bit stronger than the copper one, but they are
Mhm.
both extremely powerful tools.
Oh, you guys, this is amazing.
Everybody
I
can
can't
do this.
yeah.
Everybody can visualize this. So everybody can feel this. So if you have any other questions on the different tools, this one is empowerment. This is Michael. If you go to make Metatron is shielding to protect you from other people's energies. Straight up, it's like putting on etheric plate armor. Shamuel is for stress and trauma, and the Gabriel is for actually opening yourself up to the higher connections that you have. We all have them, so there's no denying that. So you can do that with all four pendants and just feel them and feel which one is right for you.
That's beautiful. What a
Yeah.
great way to end everything up. Okay, and if people wanna get a hold of you, how do they do that?
Yep. You can get a hold of me at www.energiesofservice.com. And you can find me on Energies of Service on Instagram, Facebook, and I have the YouTube channel as well, Energies of Service, where there are a few videos up there. There's not a lot up there as far as my own personal ones, other than the instructional videos on how to manage the tools. There are a lot of interviews up there, though, for talking about what we're doing and how we're doing it and all that, which is actually a lot. It's a lot of fun with the interviews.
Absolutely, and you can find him in edgemagazine.net and edgedirectory.net. You can check him out, and we're gonna end with your commercial. I've actually been running your commercial on some of the shows, so it's been really fun. Peter, thank you for doing what you're doing. We need you, man.
Thank you, Kelly. It's been wonderful.
It was a lovely time to spend an hour with you, and we'll
Absolutely.
connect soon. Have an amazing
Absolutely.
one.
Thanks, you too.
Are you ready to elevate your spiritual journey and embrace transformation? Our celestial guided pennants are powerful tools designed to support your spiritual growth. Infused with tensor technology and the energy of crystals, these pennants help you release what no longer serves you and opens the doors to new beginnings. Explore our angelic armor collection today at energiesofservice.com and find the pennant that resonates with you. Transform your journey. Embrace the power of angelic armor today.